Our top story after that high-profile visit of the U.S. Secretary of State Hillary Clinton to India does seem like the U.S. has had a dramatic change of perception. In a damning indictment, the first of its kind ever, a top U.S. general has pointed at the ISI for fomenting, quote, chaotic activities in Kashmir, unquote, and Afghanistan, and asked the Pakistani spy agency to change its strategic thrust. Admiral Mike Mullen also admitted that the U.S. was having discussions with the Pakistani leadership on this issue. Mullen said the ISI has been supporting militant groups in Kashmir and the Fatah bordering Afghanistan.
One of the things I've learned in my frequent visits to Pakistan over the last year, and I've been there almost a dozen times, is, again, that's another extraordinarily complex relationship. And it's one that I've spoken, very publicly about in terms of I believe in the long run that the ISI has to change its strategic thrust, which has been to foment chaotic activity in its border countries, and I think in the long run, and that's been a Pakistan view to its own survival and its own security, and I think in the long run that's got to change. Support of historically of militant organizations, both East and West. I mean, that's been a focus of theirs in Kashmir historically, as well as in Fatah, and I think that's fundamentally has to change, and there are discussions which have been ongoing with respect to that, and I think the leadership recognizes that, and there's a big challenge in dealing with that based on what their history is and what they need to do.
We spoke with Josh Rushing, a senior presenter with Al Jazeera, who interviewed Mullen, who specifically mentioned that over the past few weeks, the U.S. had indeed stepped up the pressure on Pakistan.
And he clearly acknowledged that it's been as he said, kind of a survival technique from the way Pakistan sees it to foment chaos in not only Afghanistan but Kashmir as well. And he thinks that they need to change that to work differently, I think, with their neighbors. And it appeared from his comments that he is speaking to at least the head of the Pakistani military about that, trying to encourage that different direction. He thought that there has been a historic relationship between the ISI and the Taliban and how that was going to have to change, and that was part of it, as if, and he didn't say this explicitly, but just as the person interviewing him, the way I understood it was as if they were using the Taliban to foment chaos in their border areas, and I guess that would be mostly to the west.